Our next speaker up is our very own Carlos Whitt. Carlos joined Lyft in 2015 to really come in and build out our core passenger and mobile infrastructure team. In his role today, he is focused on being the site lead, building out our newest engineering team out of Mexico City. Welcome, Carlos. We're really excited to have you, and feel free to take it away.
Thank you, Tatiana. Also, I love this whole thing is awesome. Like I feel super fortunate to be part of this. I'll keep this relatively short and sweet, and hopefully we'll have some questions, maybe not. Hey everyone, and thank you for having me. Oh, am I in there? So I guess I should start by telling you a little bit about myself. I'm half Mexican, and my mom was born in Mexico City and did her undergrad at UNAM. My parents met in a pretty, at least from my perspective, adorable way. They met at Disney World. How exactly my dad managed to pick up my mom at Disney World is a story for another time. I grew up mostly in Alabama, although unfortunately I didn't pick up any Southern accent. I spent my summers in Mexico, splitting time between Mexico City and Cuernavaca. Getting to grow up and experiencing both American and Mexican cultures was awesome. I credit that cross-section of cultures with much of the perspective I have today. My education and career has been filled with a combination of opportunity and hard work. I graduated from Duke University with a double major in CS and EE. I'd go on to work at Google for 6 years. I'd work at Square for about 2 years, and after 2 years. After Google, I founded my first company and I was the CTO there. I sold that company to Groupon about 2 years later. After Square, I founded my second company and was the CEO there. I sold that company to Lyft about 5.5 years ago and have been at Lyft ever since. At Lyft, I've managed several teams and started 2 initiatives. The first initiative was the bike and scooter team, which was actually referenced by Anthony earlier, where I founded the team and grew that team to over 100 engineers in about 18 months. It now represents one of the most strategic lines of business for Lyft. The second initiative is the first from the goal of this meeting, the first that I'd like to tell you a little bit about, and that's my current role as Lyft site lead for Mexico City. Around Q4 of last year, the executive team at Lyft came to me and asked me if I'd help to kick off a remote office based somewhere in Latin America. I thought about it for a bit, but once I realized the opportunity to build a world-class engineering office in Mexico City, a city where I spent much of my childhood, and a city where my mom is from, I jumped at the opportunity. Now here I was with a mandate to build a world-class engineering office in Mexico City, and I had to figure out how to proceed. I decided to bring together the best team I could to get the job done. I surrounded myself with an amazing team of recruiters and other engineering leaders across Lyft. We decided to tackle this problem in phases with exit criteria at each phase. The first phase was a market assessment phase, and that was our focus for Q1 of this year. We looped in the market intelligence team and generated a report that we'd use to guide our recruiting efforts. Part of this phase was the boots on the ground. I moved to Mexico City in January and February and met anyone who would help me and inform me about anything to build a world-class team in Mexico City. The second phase was a market validation phase, and that our focus was in late Q1 and Q2 of this year. In this phase, we started to heavily source and recruit and put lots of our prospective hires through our interview process. We did several batch interview weeks and landed on a first possible 6-person team, just 6 people. We took everything we learned in the first set of hires to our executive team. After seeing the quality of the engineers, our executive team greenlit this initial hire of 6 people and said yes to opening up the CDMX office and growing our team from 6 people to over 40 people in 2020. The third phase is where we are now. We are focused on growing the team and setting an early culture. Although this is made a bit more difficult because we can't be in the same office together, I believe the CDMX office is off to a great start. I'm super proud of the team that helped to get us here, and I remain excited about the opportunity to build a world-class engineering team based out of Mexico City. I fully expect that the success that Lyft has had in Mexico City will be replicated by other tech companies as well. Thank you for the time.